When we're having fun with feelings, it can
What it would mean
make
to
it
have
so
fun
much
with feelings.
easier for us to develop that EQ, that emotional intelligence vocabulary, the kind of vocabulary that is really connected to a deeper understanding of what it is that we're experiencing when emotions arrive. And the reason I'm speaking about emotions as events or maybe a state of being is that it's not about identifying with our emotions, it's about noticing that we're experiencing them and the qualities of them and what messages might be happening behind those experiences. Now, a great place to start, though, is with a feelings chart. Why a feelings chart? Well, let's just get real for a second. We do experience stress, power struggles, even meltdowns, tantrums, all kinds of big emotional events. We say stress, power struggles, and meltdowns. Oh my. And it's because when we go through a lot of change and transition, and when conditions keep changing, we can't help, especially in a global pandemic, to have challenges with coping, right? And whether that's, being teased at school, or like one client of mine was dealing with just today for her child, or getting into a power struggle over who is making dinner, if you have older kids, or who's cleaning up the bathroom, or for younger kids, like getting them out the door on time. We are experiencing all kinds of different relational emotional moments and then intrapersonal emotional moments. And this is very human of us. And so I want us to get a chance to make this fun and have a good time with this, so that when we get into those tough, sticky spots, we're already versed in the language of emotion. Think of getting thrown on, let's say, a soccer field or a volleyball court. I used to be a volleyball player. And, next thing you know, a ball's coming your way, and you kind of know what to do with like a certain kind of serve. For example, you know how to hold your arms, you know how to get behind the ball, you know how to rotate your shoulders and really pass it up to the setter. Well, that only can happen if you've had experience practicing, and kind of breaking it down into pieces. And when we're kind of live in the game of life, the sport of life, the challenges of life, it can be really helpful to just have sort of automatic reflexes around certain things. I remember when I was teaching kids how to name their emotions: mad, sad, glad, scared, and everything in between, and all the nuances. I got better at recognizing what I was experiencing in terms of my own emotions because I was teaching it to children every day. And I would be able to say, "Oh, I'm sad because I lost something I used to have, and I really wish I could have it back. And that makes me really sad. And so I'm experiencing the grief, like this is grief." And then I could move through my grief and make meaning out of my loss, and even get clear about what it is that I want to create in my life or in that moment, in that situation, because I had that beginning insight. And that's what we want our kids to have. It raises their emotional intelligence. So let's go ahead and explore 10 ways to use a feelings chart that can boost the EQ, the emotional intelligence and resilience within the family system. Because I tell you, when you can make sense of why you are having strong feelings, and first of all, what those feelings are, you're already on your way. And this is something I share with my clients in a longer form, in a 3-day retreat. And this is just one little piece that we get to dive into today, which is exciting for me to share with you. So my first tip, and you can write these down, friends, okay? Number 1 is to look for the inside story. And what do I mean by the inside story? The inside story is when you are having a literary experience of maybe reading a book or watching a show or listening to an audiobook, and there's a character in the story. And they could also be writing a story. I did this a lot in writer's workshop for first, second, and third graders as well, and even older. I'll say, what is the inside story? So it's sort of like, oftentimes we think of stories as the plot, right? So this character goes here and has to solve this problem, make some friends along the way, make some enemies, and then, etc. You kind of hear like where it's happening, what's happening, who's involved, and things like that. But without the inside story, or at least hints at the inside story of how the character is feeling and maybe thinking, the story, it kind of falls flat. So most of the stories you'll be reading that are actually interesting, that catches yours and your child's attention, has some kind of inside story happening, even if it's just excitement. So taking a moment to pause and ask, what do you think the character's feeling right now? That's the inside story. And you can look at a chart like the one that I was sharing earlier, something like this one, which is from a wholehearted counseling. You can look that up on Teachers Pay Teachers. I think she's also on Etsy. And you can say, which of those feelings do you think that this character is experiencing? And try to find at least 3 that the character could be feeling. And that also in itself is a little lesson. You can have more than one feeling at the same time. Like, could you be excited to see your grandmother, but a little bit sad because your grandfather's not going to be there anymore? But then you also feel kind of proud because you thought of a great gift to bring. Sure, you could be excited, sad, and proud all at the same time. This helps kids to see that there are nuances in our emotional experiences. Got it? Okay. One tip to go deeper. Would you feel the same way? Why or why not? Is a great question. Gets kids to think about their own feelings and their own life and whether or not they could see themselves in those shoes. Now, if your kid is under 7, they may or may not have the ability to truly take perspective. That tends to emerge at age 7. So keep it light and easy. If your kids are younger, if they just say, oh, I think she's sad, you could say, how can you tell? Oh, she's got tears on her cheeks. Yeah. Why do you think she's sad? Oh, because she fell down. Oh, have you ever been sad when you fell down? That's great for preschool and kindergarten age. Now, number 2, listening to music and just notice how it makes you feel. So you've probably noticed that, music can put you in a different mood. So go ahead and grab your feelings chart and turn on some tunes. Excuse me. Sorry. Got something in my throat. And you can name the emotions that come up as you listen, right? So, I mean, gosh, there's nothing more emotional sometimes than a really well-written song. I'm sure you know what I mean. I had a 8-year-old in the back of the car with me just a couple weekends ago. We were heading out on an adventure. My friend's kid. We kind of went out as a crew. There was like a 5-year-old and another 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. And the song came on and she said, ooh, that's my jam. And her face changed. She was like crooning along. She was holding her hand on her heart. And I was just thinking, wow, I wish we had a feelings chart right now just to talk to you, like, what is it about the song that sets that mood, is it, and then you can go deeper, especially with an older child or a very musically inclined child. Is it the tempo? Is it the lyrics? Is it the sound of that voice, the tone in their voice? How can you tell that this is sad or happy or angry or scary, and what kind of music do you like to listen to when you're feeling sad, happy, angry, or scared? A great conversation starter. All right. I'm going to pause right here and say, if you're here with me on Facebook or on Zoom, say hello in the comments, say hello in the chat, so I know that we are able to connect. Let me know what ages of kids you have, where you're tuning in from. It's always lovely to connect here, even if you're watching the replay, even if you're on YouTube. Just give me a little shout out. Let me know you're here and you're checking out 10 fun ways to boost your child's EQ with a feelings chart today with us. All right, so next one, number 3. We are looking at how to get to know the different feelings on the chart. So even if it's a very simple chart, it could be 4, like mad, sad, glad, and scared is a classic one for toddlers and early preschool. And then the one I showed you earlier is more like pre-K and up. You can start looking at that. And then there are even these beautiful rainbow charts for the older kids who are more like preteens and teens, like Plutnik's chart. But right here, whatever chart's in front of you, you can actually like just close your eyes and point at it and pick it at random And think about a time when you felt that emotion and write it down. This is a great one too, to just talk about, even if you're not able to write it down. You can even make it into a little game where you like flick a coin onto the chart that's sitting on the table to see where it lands. And then you can tell a time when you felt that way, and then pass the coin to another family member, and they can toss it onto it and see where it lands. And then they need to tell a little story. So that's a really fun way to start. It's also a great journaling exercise. That's why it says write it down. Sometimes if you wait for the feelings to come up and present themselves, you don't actually get the opportunity to explore kind of your depth of emotion or your variety of emotion. So starting a feelings journal can help you get used to tuning into your emotions, naming them, and sharing the events that happened before, during, and afterwards. And sometimes you'll notice a shift, like did you do anything to soothe yourself or shift your feelings in that incident? And that can be a really good clue or insight into your best coping tools. And we're going to talk a bit more about coping tools in a minute. Okay, so here's number 3. Now, number 4 is another game where you can actually play bingo with it, right? So you take the chart and you can make many copies with a couple extra. And the way you construct any kind of chart into a bingo game is you cut up your card. Everybody has a chance to cut their card up into strips or into squares, and then rearrange it in a random order with like a free space in the middle into like a bingo grid, right? So BINGO, and then it can be like 5 in each direction. And then if you want to go classic, you're going to put that middle space and that free space in the middle. And then one of the extra copies you actually cut up into a set of little cards, and you practice pulling them out of a hat or out of a little bag. And that's how you do each bingo turn. And then you leave one card fully intact where you can put those pulled cards onto, so you can see which ones have already been called. It's just really simple. You can take any chart and turn it into bingo. I've done this with so many kinds of charts, and kids love bingo. What it does is it helps kids get familiar with the little faces, if they're faces, or at least the vocabulary of the words. And as you go, like usually, especially if the chart's a little bit more advanced than your child's level, there'll be ones on there, they're like, what is that? What does embarrassed really mean, or what does resentful mean, it's kind of depending on how advanced your chart is. And we'll look at another chart in a second, the chart again in a second, so you can see what I mean. Okay, so far we've got look for the inside story when you're reading books, listen to music and notice how it makes you feel, pick one feeling at random, and then try to recall a time when you felt that feeling, maybe even starting a feelings journal. Playing bingo by making up some cards and turning it into a game. Now, if you're listening to this, I really want you to write something in the comments. I see Candace is here, for example. I love that you love feeling charts, Candace. So good to have you here. We'd love to know your location and ages of your kids. Let us know. And yeah, you're welcome for helping you use them more effectively. So in the comments, I want you to write, which of the 4 do you think you might try? The first 4, okay? Looking for the inside story, listening to music to notice how it makes you feel, picking one feeling at random and recalling a time that you felt that emotion, or playing bingo, okay? Would love to hear that, because the next one is so classic that you probably already thought of it, but it's worth mentioning because I'll tell you about my client. So I'll call him M. So M has 2 kids, ages 10 and 13, and they get in a lot of sibling fights. And part of what they're practicing is using I statements. I feel, and you share what you feel when this happens because of something, right? So it could be like, I feel annoyed when you won't stop singing the same song over and over again, because I have to we have a small house and I have to hear it over and over, and I really need a break from it. Also, I've asked you to stop already, right? This is a much more constructive thing than like, hey, would you quit it? Smack, right? much more constructive. So this is also a conflict resolution problem solving tool right here for you. And one of the things that he did that was successful is he put this exact chart up on his fridge with some colorful magnets, different color for each family member, and they just move them around whenever they feel like it. And sometimes, a child will be sulky or will act out, and he goes, can you just head over to the chart and see what might be going on for you? Because a lot of times kids don't want to talk about their feelings. They don't want to name their feeling. You say, oh, are you feeling sad? Is that why you did that? And they might look at you like, I can't stand you right now, right? Or they'll shut down and pout and they do this. But if they can walk up to something friendly that they're familiar with, perhaps they can look at it and move the magnets around and at least have a moment to think about it and check in with themselves. That doesn't feel so confrontational or putting them on the spot. This is really good for your introverted kids, by the way, and teens and tweens. Okay. So you can also everyone can have their own feelings chart where they can put morning, evening, and morning, afternoon, and evening. That's another way I've seen this used where it's up. You can also have it be a part of a routine. Like let's say you do family meetings in your house. That's something I teach all my clients about. It's pretty advanced, but we go over it because we break it down into smaller steps. So it's much more easy to achieve. And one of the possible ways to do an icebreaker is to look over a feelings chart and really check in. How have I been feeling today? So these are ways that you can bring this in. Yeah. All right. Let's see. So Candace is from Wisconsin and her kids are 3, 10, and 12. Nice. 3 kiddos. Nice, Candace. So yeah, I'm curious, Candace, of the 5 now that I've shared, which one stands out to you? And anyone else listening to the replay, either here on Facebook or on YouTube, feel free to put into the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Which are you going to try next? All right. So number 6, moving on. You can absolutely play emotional charades. I've played this game at my emotional mastery retreat back before the pandemic started. I took my clients to Sonoma and in wine country in California. I even had one of my clients fly out from Texas, one of my now advanced students who's been with me for almost 2 years now. And we did this where I would put on an emotion and then they would guess which one it is. And part of it is like being able to read other people, also being aware of how you broadcast your emotions. This is huge for human connection, for forming healthy relationships, for social learning, for even keeping yourself safe, right? Like reading when somebody's anger is getting beyond a safety point, right? Or recognizing fear in others and wondering, what are they scared about? Maybe I should be scared too. So it can also be a way to experience more joy and be able to lift the mood and share humor and all kinds of things. So playing charades can be a lot of fun. And just like we did everyone can have a copy of the chart, just like the bingo, right? But in this case, instead of cutting them up, you only cut up the one collection of cards, but instead of cutting all of them up, you have the chart that your teams can look at. And then the actor pulls out an emotion and acts it out. And then the team tries to guess which of the feelings they're acting out. For a more advanced version, don't give them a chart. And then you can say, really have a discussion about body language and body cues, like what was the difference, for example, between, worried and surprised. Yeah. Like just talking about it, because there are these universal emotional expressions that I like to teach. And when kids learn them, it's so empowering because they are more likely to be able to, connect with others in an empathetic way, but they're also becoming really aware that, for example, a lot of kids will take things personally when really someone is just thinking. Like I know that for me, my concentrating face also looks pretty like almost scrutinizing, like I'm looking at someone like I'm angry at them, but really I'm just confused. So I make this face where my brow furrows and I scrunch up a little and I kind of frown a little and I might go, And just knowing that that cue could mean many things that will come out in charades, because someone will make an expression, you're like, that could be this, this, or this. And that in itself is a big lesson. Another one is just for everyone to have access to this, to the same like reference, no matter where you are. I like to take a snapshot of it and save it on my phone as one of my favorites. And I even have an album that's just for parenting resources. And I have all my clients do this too, where anytime I find something like an infographic that I find really useful, I'll just put it in there. And I have like my top 10 that I have all my clients put into their albums. But one of my favorite ones definitely is the feelings chart, because when it comes to figuring out that I statement or trying to help a kid articulate how they're feeling, or even for yourself to do some self-care and do a check-in, so nice to be able to pull it up right on your phone or on your laptop. And you can even make it your screensaver for a while you're sort of focusing on this as a family. Another place you could put it is, just making a list of different emotions and their definitions on a notes app or something like that. And if you can't do this digitally, no problem. Like we've been raising emotional intelligence pre-technology for centuries, millennia, really. But this is just sort of a fun little idea that you could try. Number 8, make up new ways to sing a song you know. Everybody knows what a cover sounds like, right? When a band or a singer or performer will cover another artist's music. And sometimes people really dislike it. And sometimes it's just because it's a poor quality, or the genre is really different, or the person's voice doesn't sound right, or something doesn't sound very good. But oftentimes it's because the mood has been changed. So you take like a happy song and turn it into a sad song, or turn a sad song and turn it into sort of a playful, sassy song. That can actually be a lot of fun. And some of my favorite covers do just that, like taking something that's usually, upbeat and making it more downbeat, for example. I think Jimmy Kimmel has a game on his show, excuse me, where he does just that, where it's like you have to sing a song, but in a different genre and a different kind of voice. And it's hilarious. And so you can take a song you already know and change it up. And especially one that your kid already knows the name, already knows the words. You can even start with a classic happy birthday and do it the like sad version. Happy birthday to you, or something like that. Or do the angry version, like happy birthday to you. It's just funny. It's funny. They can have a really good time with it and get to play with these emotional concepts. Okay. And then you can always ask, how can we add situations to our lyrics and actually rewrite parts of the song? So maybe it's like, saddest birthday to you, you live under a shoe, I don't know. And so you can have fun with it, right? Just like the kind of teasy version of that song. Yeah. Kids, there's a reason why kids love that kind of stuff. And you want to go with what kids already enjoy when you want them to learn new things. Yeah. Candace says that she will be discussing feelings and the characters while reading. Yeah, nice. They already do that. Adding how they would feel would be a great addition. Yeah, so putting yourself in their shoes would be the going deeper part, Candace. Nice. Also the magnet on the charts on the fridge with the I messages. Yeah. Can you see how that might help with some of the sibling conflicts and just generally like being able to start using those I statements more if they have the chart of the feelings right there? Yeah. Especially when they're already familiar with, like you've played some games with. Really good, Candace. I love it. All right. Got 2 more to go. Number 9, you can put it up on the mirror in the bathroom. I have a 7-year-old in my household who has her feelings chart right next to the mirror that she looks in the bathroom at eye level, right? So Candace, you might put it somewhere right in the middle, in between the average height of your kids. But just having it there next to their faces will help them get used to observing their own expressions and make connections between their feelings and how they show them on their face. And there's some cool science behind this next piece. So researchers have proven that because I have a psych background. I went to UC Berkeley and I majored in psychology, and I got really interested in positive psychology. And one of the studies was that they had people come in and read something. And they said, well, while you're reading though, we would just want you to either hold a pencil, and I'm going to come on camera so you can see this. We want you to either hold your pencil between your teeth, and don't worry, I won't share this with anybody else. Like this. Or the second group, hold a pencil like this. Now, what kind of expression or emotion does this look like? Put it in the comments. I want you to say what it is. I'm not going to say until you guys you all have a moment to say. Okay. So pencil in the teeth. What emotion is this? What do you think? And then pencil between the nose and the lip. Good. What emotion do you think that is? Yeah. So they created two conditions. What were the two conditions? I'll wait for it. I wonder if Candace is with us and can say what they are. She'll put it in the comments. I'm going to wait for it. So they created these two emotional expression conditions. Well, what they found is that the people with a pencil in their teeth actually had a more positive interpretation of the text they were reading than the people who had that expression. So what does that lead us to conclude? And this, by the way, this study has been repeated numerous times. So it wasn't just a fluke, beyond statistical error, beyond random chance. What it helped us to realize, and now we've proven this also with, doing like brain scans of brain activity when people are holding different emotions. That whole like fake it till you make it. Yeah. Or like, and then it can be a little bit condescending, but they're like, well, why don't you smile about, it's just smile, like it'll help. And it's like, I don't want to smile, but turns out when appropriate, smiling is actually signals to your brain to release neurochemicals that lift your spirits, that put you in a more positive mood. Whereas frowning dampens those chemicals from releasing and can actually bring you into more of a stress response. Isn't that fascinating? So it's not always that the emotion comes from a thought or from within and then is expressed. It's actually the expression that can also reverse influence an emotion. Yeah. And that's something that I just think is really fascinating. Yeah. So exactly. So when you're smiling, it's like, it brings up that happy, you look happy, right? Happy, excited, joyful, and then when you're sad, when you frown, it's like sad, disappointed, maybe even angry, right? So the reason why I thought this was so interesting when we were studying these kinds of things at UC Berkeley is that there are ways you can hack into your own mood, right? Your mood. And there's many, many more ways, which I'm going to get to in a moment. But I thought this was such a quick one, which is like, try wearing an expression on your face for 30 seconds and see if it changes the way you feel. Doesn't always happen, but sometimes. But you know how like actors can really get into their character if they just spend a little time prepping in the green room or in their trailer or whatever beforehand, because they can actually evoke those emotions. Now, sometimes they do it with their thoughts, but a lot of it has to do with your own expressions and things. So I just think this is so cool. And your kids who are leaning towards like being science geeks are going to really love this. Did you know you can actually change your own feelings by the expression you wear on your face? It's really neat. You can even try the pencil experiment at home. Okay. And now, even though we've talked about the I statement, the thing that people forget about the I statement is that you can use it, you can use it when you're not upset. A lot of times people save the I statement for when they're discouraged, annoyed, angry, frustrated, disappointed, sad, scared, right? But you can also use it when you're elated, when you're joyful, when you're excited, when you're feeling satisfied and calm, right? So you can say, I feel calm when I take a long bath because it really helps me to relax and quiet my mind. And I love this, the aroma of, whatever you put in, like lavender. You can say I statements anytime, even if you're just sort of feeling, I don't know, kind of neutral. Doesn't even have to be an emotion on the chart. And the reason why is when we practice identifying and naming emotions, you have the opportunity to flex those kind of muscles and create the pattern in your own thinking. It's like a linguistics hack to create these highway fast connections between your awareness of feelings and your ability to name and express them. It's such a key piece of emotional intelligence that when we learn it and we also model it for our kids and our kids do it, we all benefit. So I would do this, give yourself maybe a little piece of homework. Candace is here with us, anyone who's listening, that in the next week, just for a week, you're going to pick 2 or 3 of the kind of community hacks, right? So it might be putting, like Candace picked 2, thinking about how you might feel in that circumstance with reading, the reading one. Also the putting the chart up with the magnets, with the I statement. But then I want you to also, as the role model, do those things alongside your children and practice using that I statement as many times as you can for 1 week. And I promise you, you will feel more in tune with your emotions, and you'll start to see it rub off on your kids. I've seen this with classrooms of 48 children that I've been in charge of. I've mentored teachers who have classrooms of 12 to 24 to 48 kids. And then I've also worked with hundreds of kids and families directly to give them these kinds of tools. And I want you to have them as well. So would you trust me that if you were to pick 2 things off of the list, I'll go through them one more time, and then role model the I statement, that it would make a difference? Are you ready for that? If you are, just put the word ready. You're ready to have more emotional intelligence tools running in your family. Okay, so quick recap. And then I have a special invitation, very special. Okay. All right. So look for the inside story when you're reading books together. Listen to music and see how it makes you feel and explore that. Pick a feeling at random and think about a time when you felt that emotion. Play feelings bingo. Post it up on the fridge with colorful magnets and the I statement. Play charades and have fun taking turns acting them out and guessing. Keep the feelings chart super handy by having it, right in your hand, and maybe multiple places in your house, maybe even on a device. Make up new ways to sing the song you already know with a totally different mood behind it. Put the feelings chart up on a mirror in the bathroom where your kids will see it often, and they can see their own faces, and maybe they can try the pencil experiment. And for you to start using I statements, even outside of those big emotional moments. I'm so excited for you to use all of these for this feelings chart. And I think you could rock these strategies for this next month in November coming up here. Now we're just starting in November. And then I want you to join me for something really special that I've prepared for December. I have an event called Find Your Calm in the Chaos of Parenting, where we will practice 6 key tools for coping and calming down in the moment. Because we want to go beyond being able to identify and name our emotions. We then want to be able to cope with having them, right? Where we actually calm down and kind of train our nervous systems to have a lower stress point, right? So that we're not, our baseline stress lowers over time. So we're more well-resourced. We also want to be able to navigate the big emotions with a lot of emotional dexterity, a lot of emotional skill. And it's hard to do that if you don't know what your go-to calm down strategy is. So the point of this 6-part training that happens over an hour a day, over 6 days in December, is to help you find your best fit tools and help you find the best fit tools for your kids so that it becomes almost an automatic response to having big emotions. Like, that a 4 square breath and walking away and doing some tense and releases is exactly your little formula, your little calm parent plan that you're going to use, and it works for you. Because I want you to get out of any kinds of patterns of yelling, shutting down, fighting, fleeing, and all the guilt that comes afterward when you overreact. And if this is you, it's totally fine. This is how human of you, but I can help. And these strategies help. So I've had people come out and say, my gosh, Vanessa, like I had no idea that I could learn so much in 6 days and that I could really find my best strategy. Like I have one parent who's like, that roller coaster breath that you taught us, Vanessa, we use that on a daily basis. All of my kids love it. And I'm so glad that you taught us 6 different breaths that we can all use so that you can have the opportunity to find out which is your best fit. Yeah. Because it's so important that we're able to give ourselves exactly what we need when we're in those big emotions so that we don't snap at our kids or blow up or give in, or like, I don't know about you, but I've dropped consequences that I cannot follow through on. Have you? Guilty. Has anybody else done that? You're like, if you don't clean the bathroom, then I'm going to lock the door and you'll never get to use it again. It's like, well, no, that would be child neglect. Like you can't cut your kid off from having a restroom, having a bathroom facility. Right. So that's not going to work. Right. Anyway, so what I have here is a link to a course that is happening, 6-part training in December. And because you're here and because you're listening, and I know that you are somebody who is taking this seriously, all you need to do is use a code, community, just the word community with a capital C, and it will waive your fee. Okay. So when you go to the website, I'll show you right now. Just a second. When you go to the website, you're going to have an opportunity to go to this spot right here where it's usually $17, which is already, by the way, highly reduced from $515 of value because you get 6 classes, 2 live Q&A sessions with me. You get to join our private event only Facebook group. You get a Calm Parent Strategy Guide, which I am so proud of. I just redid it. So it's like really top notch. And then you get to also come to this 1-day Calm Parent Reset event, all worth $515. Usually you would pay $17 because I already reduced it for everyone. But right now I'm saying you can go here and just get it for free and go ahead and register so that you can get early access to all this fun stuff. So if you put in community right here, and that's because you're part of my Facebook group, you're part of my community. If you're finding this on Zoom through my channel, you can just put in that word community and it's $0. And so this is my gift to you. And then you're going to want to go ahead and mark your calendar and join us. Okay. So use the code community to make sure that you can get it for free. Now you have to register by the Tuesday before, otherwise the code expires. Okay. So you might as well go ahead and just grab your ticket, grab your spot. So go ahead and head over to Calm in Chaos, the link that I put in the comments here, and will also be on the YouTube video, and also in the email that this video was shared on. And go ahead and join us for Calm in the Chaos of Parenting, a 6-day training that will help you. They'll help you. Oh, I'm sharing so much of my. That's so funny when that happens. Sorry. It's like the tunnel, the never-ending tunnel. There we go. Yeah, so make sure you come to, I've only done it one other time. I always find it really entertaining. You can also join our free community on Facebook if you haven't already. If you're not already listening in our free community on Facebook, it's called Raising Our Resilience Parent Community, where I like to give weekly tips and trainings, but it's nothing like the 6-day. The 6-day is really special. I usually only run it twice a year. And it's better than ever. We keep improving it and bringing in new speakers and new resources so that you can find your best calm down tools and really envision an amazing year next year as well. And I would love for you to share which of today's ideas you're trying out in the comments below, whether that's on YouTube or here on the Facebook group. Let us know, just like Candace did, what you're going to try next. And Candace, if you have a new idea that popped, put it in the comments as well. Well, I'm so excited to have served you all today. This is one of my favorite little mini trainings that I like to give to my Facebook group and my community. And I'm so glad that you were able to join me for it. I hope you have fun with your feelings charts. And yeah, you can really, there's so many of them out there that are good quality and some that are not such good quality. So pick the one that you feel like fits what your family needs and your kids. And my last hot tip for you is that if you have little ones, like let's say pre-K and younger, and then you have some school age kids, maybe K and up, get a couple of them. Do something really simple for your little ones, like the sad, glad, mad, and scared, just 4, or and like there's also one that has calm, which is nice. Maybe 4 to 6 is about right to get started. And then you can work up to a chart like the one I showed you. And that one really lasts all the way through preteen years. And then you're going to want to look at something that maybe doesn't have all those facial expressions, because teens and tweens are very sensitive to being told something that feels babyish. So you'll want to get a little bit more scientific and intellectual. Maybe look at Plutchik's Wheel of Emotions. You can look that up, Plutchik's Wheel of Emotions, for your 10 kids 10 and up. They might appreciate that. Okay. With that, I will leave you. Lots of love. Until next time, we'll be back in 2 weeks for another Ask Me Anything, which is where I answer the new questions from our new members. This is a great time to invite new people into the group, because when they do, they'll have a chance to let me know what the hardest thing is, and I can address their questions in a couple weeks. We're taking next week off, so I'll see you in 2 weeks, Monday at noon, Pacific time. All right, until then, lots of love. Bye for now.